Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about the higher purpose of certain aspects of twin flame journey or any other divinely guided spouse related journey that might be unfolding for someone when they are in their life journey. Now, when we are on a twin flame journey or we are meant to become the divine counterparts of someone, that journey doesn't begin the day we start realizing we may be a twin flame, or the day we start getting education from someone or guidance from someone that we are someone's divine counterpart. This journey starts the day we were born on earth, has been also present in our lives, even in our past life journey with other souls. That's why I posted some of those hypothetical videos in the past, which were trying to explain these concepts from the perspective of certain fictional characters. Now, let me take the aspect of twin flame journey or divine counterpart journey that I have understood from my life experiences, and I hope it will be insightful for you. Um, so, in one of my past relationships, which was in my memory, the first relationship with my boyfriend in US, there the relationship was very highly um, toxic for both of us because we both had misaligned perspectives about the relationship. He was a guy in his 20s for whom living in US meant that he wanted to explore the life of living together with someone, explore sex with someone. That was his perspective about having a relationship. While for me, I was a girl from India, and even though I also lived in India nearly the same number of years that he had lived in India, being a girl, being a person who's also from a conservative family, and being someone who has certain value systems that I wanted to hold in my life, I was very insistent at that point of time in my 20s that I do not want a sexual relationship first. I first want to build the emotional connection between us, see whether, and these things I didn't voice out in person, except that I said no to sex. But in other ways, while communicating with him, I tried to establish this boundary that first we have to care for each other, meet with each other, do things with each other, learn about each other. How was I trying to establish those boundaries? By wanting to meet with him maybe once or twice in a week, by wanting to go out for a movie date and going in such movie dates where from the movie we are learning something, and after the date, so that we can sit and actually talk about the movie that we watched. What did we like about it? What did we not like about it? Is it the kind of genre we would like to watch again and again? These are the kind of things I wanted to build, because for me, since childhood days, because I didn't have a very chatty family or a family who was very involved in understanding me from my core soul essence. For me, understanding about myself came via stories, came via movies, came via TV serials that I used to watch, came via books I was learning from, or friendships I held, and the stories my friends told about their family life, or what I observed in my extended family life. These are the places where I was learning about life more than I was learning from my own inside home family setting, because of which I wanted to learn again from that same mechanism, but this time via communication with a guy, via talking with a guy, via experiencing some movie or going on some. We had also gone on some different national park trips in the US, because we were blessed enough to live in a state of Utah, which is in US, where there are lots of national parks in Utah, around Utah. So, both in Utah and around Utah, we went on certain trips with each other to see whether we are compatible with each other while we are going on these trips. And in all these joint activities that we were doing, or where I wanted to learn more about him by speaking with him, communicating with him, I kept hitting roadblocks. The roadblocks that I kept hitting, first roadblock was this, that he wanted to explore sex. I don't want to explore sex. There itself was the major roadblock. And for me, even though I would set, even though I came from a conservative country, and because I was living in America, I understood the perspective of a guy who wants to explore sex. So, and I was attracted also to him, so I was also in the zone where I also wanted to explore it. So we explored it in the second base, third base aspects. But while we are exploring it in those aspects, it was making me more and more uncomfortable, because he wanted to keep pushing that boundary that I had set, that this is the boundary. And every time I would meet with him, the boundary would be pushed a little bit harder. Or one time I would meet, it would be okay, he would all assure me that this is not going to go beyond first friendship level or platonic friendship level, but it would invariably, and these phases where he was promising the platonic friendship kind of a relationship, that would happen because we were both lonely, we were both living in a country where we didn't have that many friends, so we were trying to be friends of each other than a girlfriend boyfriend with each other. This happened after a couple of fights where our conflicts were not getting resolved, where we were not able to reach the middle ground in the relationship, and where we had broken up. But kind of like Ross and Rachel, we kept breaking up again and again. But even though we kept breaking up again and again, we kept coming back together also after a few years, 1-2 years of gap, or 5-6 months of gap, or even 10-day gaps. Like that, our relationship kept breaking and we kept coming back. But even though we kept coming back, even though we kept breaking apart and deciding that okay, this is the last time we will meet, we will not interact with each other, we will not be friends with each other, even though that kept happening initially, why were we keeping on coming back to each other? Is because for me it was because I was emotionally connected to him. For me it was because I was missing him. For me it was because I wanted some company and friendship. And initially, after 2-3 years of going through this same cycle again and again, which was a toxic pattern that I didn't realize because I was immature. I was a young 20-year-old, so I didn't, in my early 20s. So initially I didn't realize that this is a toxic pattern. Some of my friends tried to tell me, let go of him. But I couldn't do that because, again, even though I could see the value of the words my friends were saying, and even though I did let go of him temporarily for a few weeks or a few months, I would still again get pulled back to him because I was emotionally connected to him in a way that I was not connected with anyone else in my life. Also because I didn't have friends, and I knew he also didn't have friends. So this was a way in which when I am going and visiting him, or when I am calling him, if he is receptive to that idea, if it is something that is acceptable also to him, or when he is calling me, he is visiting me, if it is again acceptable to me, we would end up meeting each other, and we would go on very casual dates, very cheap dates. We would go and eat in a pizza place, or we'll go and eat in a Chinese restaurant, fast food restaurant, or we would just go and watch a movie. That's the limit of dating that we had. We would just do that. Outside the home dating was that, and inside the home dating was us, me eating a meal together, or us watching a movie together at home, or us watching a TV show together. Now, in all these elements also, there were a lot of differences in our personality, where he couldn't explain to me the differences in the personality verbally. But even though verbally he was not able to express out his feelings, because many guys in India are living in families where they can't express what they genuinely feel. And because I was lucky in that way, that even though my parents also neglected me, there was never a place where I couldn't speak up. Even now I can speak up and be my worst patterns in my home, and I very rarely get chastised for it, which has a plus point and a negative point. The plus point is I get chastised by it via some passive aggressive ways, and the worst thing is I would rather have someone chastise me directly about it. So this guy, when we were having fights, and our fights were like verbal fights majority of the times, when we were having these verbal arguments and arguments of hours, because both of us is wanting the other to understand, but the other is not understanding our perspective, or even if the other understands it, we are not able to see the middle ground of that perspective to form a right balanced solution for each other. So this is why in that relationship things kept getting toxic and toxic, and it was only either verbal fight level, and once it went into a physical level where he wasn't really physical with me, but he was physical in front of me in a way that I understood that he was really angry, and the best protective mechanism for me was to just leave the house. And I also was very strong at that time about not living together with anyone, because I could see that his anger is such a level, and also I didn't want to sleep with him. When we wanted to be platonic with each other, it was not going in the platonic direction. Always there was a sexual element to the relationship, which caused great grief to me, because I didn't want to be objectified as a sexual object by any man. That is something I was very crystal clear about. I do not want to be sexualized. And I understand from the man's perspective, sexual connection is the way in which they express love first. But more than sexual connection, you have to have a deeper bond with any person if you want to actually have a meaningful relationship with them. That's why in Christianity or in conservative Hindu and Muslim cultures, there are these teachings which show you that, sex before marriage might not be as good, and there are reasons for that not being as good for us, because if you're looking at your partner only at the sexual level, then what you are basing your relationship on is only a sacral chakra sexual energy connection with them. You're not evolving from that into a deep heart-based connection, or even more than deeper heart-based connection. You're not evolving into a life connection that relationship can potentially have when sex is not there. Because are you going to be able to have sex when you are in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or when one or other partner is physically not able to have sex? Say you got a disease where you are not able to have sex. Say your partner has a disease where he's not able to have sex. Say you suddenly become very busy at work where you're not able to have sex with your partner because you got completely preoccupied with work. Whatever is the reason, say you are now a mother and your abilities to connect sexually is reduced because physically you're not able to do it, or after 5-10 years of being a mother, now you're physically able to connect again via sex, or 2-3 years after giving birth you are able to reconnect again with sex. But now because you have children, you have to also think about your children. So if a girl's life perspective is I want to be a mother, if a girl's life perspective is I want to be a professional too, if a girl's perspective is I want to be a mother and a professional and also build some outside my family life things that normally women don't do. Can any woman do any of these things if they are with a partner who doesn't understand this aspect of their personality? And can a partner understand these aspects of a woman's personality if a partner himself is not evolved enough to think in those lines or to work towards moving and building in those lines, even if they haven't thought in these lines? Right? So there itself is a relationship mismatch, the kind of mismatch at different levels I found with different partners. So this relationship, I have categorized it as a false twin relationship, because the intensity, push pull, emotional connection, sexual connection, everything is as highly intense as what a twin flame relationship can bring into your plate. It is also as highly intense or as deeply emotional as what a divine partnership can also bring into your table. But what is the difference between a false twin and a twin flame? Is that if in the conflict zones, if partner A wants to pursue career and partner B wants to pursue family life, but they both are meant to be each other's twin flame, they both have to understand the value and importance of career and family life in one partner's perspective, and the other partner has to understand the value and perspective of family life and work commitments. right? From their commitments, from their partner's commitments, both. And this has to happen from both of them. Both of them have to evolve and understand the other gender's perspective, and not simply gender. The differences that were happening between him and me didn't just equate to us having gender differences. We had differences in looks. I was a chubby, chunky, fat, dark skinned girl, whereas he was a tall, thin, fairer looking, more handsome boy. I was a less intellectually intellectual person in some ways. Like, I was not that great in studies. I was good in studies, excellent in some aspects of studies, but I was never too focused on studies. So I was not very always work oriented or career oriented or even study oriented. I loved reading from books, I loved reading books, I loved learning, but I wasn't very bookish in the sense that I have to just be immersed completely in my studies. And this was my personality when I was in my early 20s. My personality changed after a while. So in my early 20s, I wasn't that personality where, and he was very much interested in only either his work or after his work in fun. These are the only two elements that he enjoyed in his life. And because of which he enjoyed work and fun, I enjoyed learning and building and fun, but we weren't building anything. And in order to build a connection, and I enjoyed, meaning that is a thing that was missing in many aspects of my childhood. So for me, it was a core necessity for me to have a partner with whom I can build something, develop something much more stronger than what I have built and developed or had the opportunity to build and develop in my family life with my family, because we were emotionally not close, mentally not close, spiritually not close, physically also. Sometimes some relatives lived in different states, so we were physically not close. So many elements and aspects of relationship building were missing. And the final thing that was missing was communication. Communication was lacking in all my family life, in all elements of my life, because of which I have become a better communicator, because the lack of something can bring us more and more better ways of becoming that which we lack in our lives. So in my first relationship, the way I wanted to communicate was via, let's watch a movie, find out how we feel about the movie. But this guy was always so secretive, so silent, so not open to being authentic about his emotional expressions, that even after we watched a movie, he would never give me more than one sentence reply about what he found good about that movie. And for me, that one sentence reply was not enough, because it didn't crystallize for me what he is feeling at a deeper level about the movie. If he had even told me, and I was honest like that, like if he would sometimes want me to go and watch a war movie with him, which I didn't want to watch, I would say, or a crappy low grade, say a B grade movie, which sometimes boys might wish to watch and it's the market for boys to watch it, but something in the content tells me that this is not a content I want to watch, I would be openly expressive that I do not want to watch this, let's go and watch something else. It's not that I didn't watch war movies. With him, I did go and watch war movies, and some beautiful war movies I watched, which were not of present day wars, but of Chinese movies. I don't remember the names. One was like House of Flying Dragon or something. I don't remember all the movie names, but I had watched 3-4 different historical movies of China. No, historical meaning they were not actual history, right? They were fictional movies, but based on a historical setting. And the thing about those movies, even though they had elements of war in them, they also had elements of beauty, elements of creativity, elements of artwork, elements of storytelling, all of which made those movies so beautiful to watch for me. And even though they were not as popular as some of the other Bruce Lee, Jet Li, or other Chinese movies, they were still more meaningful to me, because I learned so many things from the beauty of those movies that I can't get if had watched those standard masala blockbuster movies of China. So
So these were not the standard blockbuster movies. They were blockbuster enough. They had ratings of maybe 7 out of 10 or something on IMDb, but they were much more beautiful because they had a essence that was more than what a blockbuster movie can provide, or a typical Chinese movie that people have in their brains. The Chinese movies are about kung fu or fighting or comedy. These were not like that. These were depth filled Chinese movies, which I really enjoyed. Now, again, for these depth filled movies, what I'm telling in these videos, even this part I couldn't express with a partner in my life. So for me, that was also a problem, that I am enjoying these movies so beautifully. I want to sit and enjoy and talk about this either with a partner or with a friend. But neither were my friends into such movies, nor were my partner into such movies. So, or he was into these movies, because otherwise we wouldn't have gone and watched these 2 3 different or four, up to I think 3 or 4 such Chinese movies we had watched together. We would watch also Hindi movies together, the blockbuster Hindi movies only we would watch. We would also watch the blockbuster ones, which are not the fighting oriented ones, because I was not into the Salman Khan like fight movies, and I would simply say no to such kind of movies. And not just Hindi movies, Hollywood movies, Hindi movies, any movies which were more just masculine audience oriented, I would reject going and watching them. Now, with this boyfriend, he was good enough to accept my boundary about movies, but he was not good enough in communicating what are his likes about movies. Because say I have shut down saying that I do not want to watch these typical fighting Hollywood movies, I didn't get the deeper answer as to why he wants to go and watch those movies. Or if I have rejected it, if he is feeling hateful about it, or disliking the fact that I have shut down certain things that we shouldn't be watching, should he express himself about why we shouldn't watch those movies? Can we build a communication or a life with each other when we are rejecting something, doing something? Be it I rejected being engaged in sexual intercourse with him. I rejected being engaged in watching really violent movies with him. What are the 2 reasons I am rejecting both of them? Violence and sex. They are both, if only violence is there in a movie, or if only sex is there in a relationship, they are both harmful for our spiritual development, emotional development, lifetime development as partners who wish to marry each other or are dating. Because most purpose of dating is what we want, a life partner. Very few people are dating oriented who want to continuously just keep moving from partner to partner. Very few people are oriented like that. Most people actually want to date because they want a life partner eventually in life. When they will realize it is up to them. Some person might realize it in their 20s, some person might realize it in their 40s, that they want a stable relationship. But whenever they realize it, the core need for having sex, or a core need for being in a relationship, is eventually that you want a life partner with whom you can journey your life together for a long time. Which men don't realize it sooner than women, but most women realize it sooner than men. Because of which, most of the time there is this age gap also between men and women, that men are usually a couple of years older than the women. That's why, because men take a little time to understand the value of a stable relationship. They understand the value of why a woman should be present in their life. But even though men are now in their 40s, 30s, 50s, 60s, there are still many men and women who don't understand the purpose and value of each other in each other's life. Which is why either when you are already married for a few years, you can have relationship conflict when you stop valuing the purpose of each other in each other's life. Or you can start, even if you don't have conflicts, if you're the quieter, meeker person, you might have resentment building up in your body and in your health. Or you might have that resentment show up in the form of alcoholism, bitterness, passive aggressive behavior, whatever, or anger, verbal abuse, physical abuse. It depends on how the resentment builds up and the resentment shows up. And every degree of resentment building, some of it is related to the partner with which you are there, and some of it is also related to the partner's childhood wounds, partner's childhood's dynamics that created them to be who they are in the present. And with those wounds also, you can find the perfect fit for yourself. But in order to find the perfect fit for yourself or perfectly aligned partner for you, you have to also still be open despite the past negative trajectory with your family or with other past girlfriends and boyfriends. You have to still remain and keep open the right relationship windows with the people you want to date, or you are dating, or you are married to. And every time, if you have been married already to someone or dating already for many years, you have to now realize what is the evolution of the journey of that experience with that person. And with us, our relationship was not evolving, because it was always staying stuck either in this zone of where we want sexual gratification, or we want company, or we want even though we want sexual gratification and company, we both have that same need. We both want that to be our future. To build that deeper connection of company with each other, you can't build it unless you communicate and express yourself, the darkness, lightness, the good, the bad, whatever. If toxic, why is it going toxic? How can we not make it go this toxic? All these discussions have to happen. For which, what has to happen, you have to go beyond sex. If you are staying in the sexual energy with each other, which is what was also happening, like, say, I am not having sexual intercourse, but say sexual gratification was achieved in the relationship, then after the gratification, his interest in the relationship will go away, which is also another typical male attitude. When they get gratified, if they haven't developed anything else in their relationship patterns with women, men tend to, after sex, just deviate away from the women. For them, women just becomes a sexual gratification object and nothing else, which is also a co-relationship problem for many women. Co-relationship problem for those women who only want sex and nothing else in a relationship. And if the man is like me and wanting to build something else more than simply sex. So if you are in these kind of relationship dynamics where one partner is only interested in sex, or both partners are only interested in sex, they cannot evolve into a better quality life with each other than beyond the sex that you have. And if one is wanting sex and the other is not wanting simply sex but sex plus more, will the partner who wants sex plus more be dissatisfied, unhappy, depressed, anxious, angry, hateful, resentful? Something will crop up in the relationship that will cause the relationship to have a meltdown now, in or a fracturing, depending on how badly something is going wrong in their relationship. It will be a minor level crack or a major crack in the relationship. So if it is a major crack, that is what is categorized as a toxic relationship or a false twin relationship, where the cracks are such, how much ever you try to fix it or they try to fix it, or both of you are attempting to fix it, you both don't have the capacity, skills, maturity, understanding, depth to build it and fix it in the right ways. And say if you both had the right maturity, you were both equally gifted by God to have some level of maturity about relationship building, if your communication channels are only mixed up, you will still not get to understand each other, receive and give to each other in the right ways. Like in our phones, iPhones and Android phones have different charging system. A iPhone's charger cannot charge a Android, and an Android's charger cannot charge a iPhone. Even with Androids, there are so many different Androids, so many different iPhones. So depending on the size of the iPhone, the version of the iPhone, or the brand of the size, version, brand of the Android, again there are so many different charging ports available. So my iPhone, if my iPhone needs an iPhone charger, and say the guy is the iPhone and I am the charger, my words won't charge him up to do the right thing if he is my charging port and mechanism of communication is not compatible with his charging port. Likewise, if in a TV or in a same thing with TV, whatever, like, do you understand the communication difference? If we both, someone needs a particular way of communication, but their partner doesn't have the receptive capacity to understand that communication, then also there is going to be a problem. And even if, say, you are charging, you and your partner are at equal levels where you're communicating equally with each other, you understand each other in some ways, which happened with my second relationship, which I categorized as a soulmate relationship. In a toxic relationship or in a false twin relationship, when you are communicating, your charging port and the device itself is different, so they will not be able to communicate with each other. There's no way the communication will work with each other. There's no way to connect only. If you connect also, there could be some chargers which will fit inside the iPhone possibly, but it will still not charge because it's not the right charging cable for the iPhone. Same way, that is the toxic relationship and a false twin relationship. Now, if you have gone through that phase, will you eventually, if you are sorted, balanced, understanding about your needs, understanding about the needs of the other partner, even though that partner has gone, you can still do that reflection about your past relationship, after a breakup, after a divorce, why things weren't working with each other. Now, if you have done that analysis, you have the potential and portal to become attracted and magnetize some soulmate in your life, which is what happened to me. I attracted a soulmate in my life. With the soulmate now, if he is a iPhone, I am the charger who knows how to charge that iPhone, and our communication was great in some aspects. So we were both, when I'm charging, I am, whatever I'm saying, it works for him, he understands it. Whatever he is saying, it's working for me. We are both taking the time to charge also, because you have to also take the time to charge with each other, right? So you can't simply, even if you have a iPhone and you have the right charger for the iPhone, if you don't if you keep your iPhone just lying around after 10 hours of use or whatever the maximum life your iPhone can go without charging, you have used it. But if you are lying in one room, your partner is lying in another room. If you're busy with your work life, the partner is busy with their work life. If you're busy with work, their partner is busy with kids, and there's no charging happening between these two. The cable is not in the same room or even in the same zone as the iPhone. Then having the right cable also, will it work? No. You have the right cable, you have the right connection, you have the right cable connection for the right charging to happen. But say you are charging it, but instead of charging the iPhone to 100%, you only charge it 30% or 50% and let it go. Will your relationship blossom and prosper? Will your iPhone function and work? Now let's say in this, the iPhone is the relationship itself, where both partners have to input to charge the relationship. Where if you are charging it only for a small amount of time, you're devoting only small amount of time and energy and effort to your relationship with your partner, which will result in what? The iPhone now works only 30%. So will it give you the full 100% functional capacity that it has the capacity to give you? It won't give you. And if you were doing it in the initial years of your relationship, where both of you were giving 100% charging to your relationship, now though both of them slowly with other engagements aren't able to give the 100%, do you have to learn some different methods to give the 100% back? Do you have to cut down in some other relationships to give more to this relationship, to make this a 100% relationship? Because our home life and our home relationship with our partner is the reason why we stay happy, is the reason why we can stay balanced, engaged, meaningfully connected in life. The more distance we have in the relationship, the less charging we give to our relationship, the more disconnected and out of balance we can become in our relationships and in our personal and professional lives too. We don't realize it because no one has taught us this, or while realizing this, sometimes people realize it only in hindsight when a relationship got broken. Because now if you're not charging the iPhone, if you're just lying the iPhone around, like your relationship is being taken for granted now in this place, where the iPhone being the relationship is just lying around in the room, but you have another phone, like you have a friend with whom you can chat, so you are charging yourself with the friend. So you have an Android phone, you're charging using your Android phone by connecting with your friend. Or you have a computer, you are sitting on your computer and connecting with your online friends or with your work friends, or devoting your time to work. Now because you have a different device also to get the same charging that you can receive, or same functionality that you can receive from an iPhone, you're not devoting time to your iPhone relationship. But then will you get the output from that iPhone relationship that you could have got? If will you get the same output using three devices, of which actually the iPhone is the main one that you should focus on, but you decided that I have this big computer of friends, or big computer group of colleagues, or a large important work life, so I have decided this is more important. You may think that the computer is more important, which in some ways it is, because maybe it is giving you money while you're doing a work. It is true that when you are with friends, they will give you appreciation and praise that your wife, who is a small iPhone, is not able to give you. But you're not thinking in the long term perspective of it. You're not thinking in the perspective of, if you don't build the relationship with your wife, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, what will you do if the wife falls sick and if she dies? What will you do if the wife is healthy but you fall sick, but you never built the communication strategy to tell her when you are sick? Or the wife is also busy with her friends and other things, so she has also not developed the capacity to see when you are falling sick, when you need help, when you are struggling at work. And do you need a life partner when you're struggling at work? Also, you should have a life partner friendships. When you are doing good at work also, you should have a life partner and friendships. But people don't realize that, and people just value their friendships more. Why do we value our friendships more or work more? Because most of us in this modern world have learned that, if after work I am tired, or if after studies I am tired, if I go and play out with my friends for a few hours, go and play tennis, go and play an online video game, go and listen to music or chat with my friend for 1 hour, women or men, women will go and dance or sing or something. Whatever you're doing, someone is pursuing a hobby, someone is relaxing with a friend, someone is working themselves, because in their family life just working and doing things was the norm. Whatever you are doing, according to what patterns you set up in the first 20-30 years of your childhood, you want to keep holding on to those patterns in the mid 20s or 30s or 40s, whenever you decide to get married, right? Whenever you have got married, at that time you want to retain the same practices that you had when you were a kid, or when you were in the beginning ages of your work life. But what was working when you were a kid, or the beginning stages of your work life, will not work when you are a spouse, or have been dating someone for 10-20 years, or have been living in with them for 10-20 years, or you have kids also along with, irrespective of whether you were married or unmarried. Will the same paradigms work? No, because you are a parent. If you have engaged in sex and you have kid, you are a parent to that child. It doesn't matter how responsible you want to become. The reason why you have a child is because universe wants you to become responsible. But if you don't become responsible towards your children the way you're meant to evolve with them, the loss will be yours. The child might still get single parented, or might not get parented by either parents, but the child has to grow up and evolve in life. But if you had been engaged with your child in a marriage or outside a marriage, if you had been engaged with your spouse in a marriage, outside the marriage, every single thing you had invested in, energetically, emotionally, financially, with your spouse and your children, you would have got back that same dividends eventually in life. I'm talking in financial terms, because most men who think like that they don't have to devote any time to your children, to your parents, to your family, to your spouse, to your spouse's family, to your spouse's needs, they are themselves actually blocking their dividends from coming to them eventually in their life, in their present as well as future life. because how a child brings dividends in your life, you will not know until you interact with that child, until you get to see the value of the child you have, because some parents also interact with the child without seeing value of learning from a child. So these are the places where, if you are, because the children also can be someone's soulmate relationship, children and spouse both can be your soulmate relationship. And what is a soulmate? A soulmate is someone who your soul decided that on this life path journey of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, you have decided that this person, if they come in your life, you will value them, love them, treasure them, care for them, and they will do the same for you. You will learn from them, help them, teach them. They will also learn from you, help you, teach you. But how a soulmate will love you, teach you, value you, how you value them, love them, teach them, all this depends on how much effort you and the other person are putting into the relationship. The effort, that is the charger that will charge your iPhone to 100% only if you give the 100% to charge, the time to charge it. If you don't give the time, you will get a low quality, poor quality relationship only, which is why many of us are depressed, stressed, anxious, because we don't have the right charging systems to charge us. We don't know the right ways to charge us. Even if some people have found the right ways to charge within, from doing meditation and hanging out with friends, or gossiping with friends, or watching a TV show, or doing online video games, or whatever else we have used to emotionally charge ourselves a little bit, to feel relaxed, to feel balanced. Actual charge and balance comes from being with the right partner and developing the right skills with partners and other people in our life. Not simply partners, it can be from your partners, kids, work life friends, everyone you are meant to interact with in this life. You have the capacity to interact with in this life. They will all bring you something that is needed for you to feel charged, which a mechanical device actually doesn't provide to us. But we are all stuck in our own mechanical devices, own set programming of what we learned when we were kids, when we were 10 years old. If TV was giving me entertainment, I want to continue watching TV. When I was young, if books and watching computer games gave me entertainment, I want to keep doing that entertainment. But when you are a 30, 40, 50-year old, life is not just about entertainment. Life is about more than simple entertainment. And that's where, if you don't understand that value, and those things won't develop for you until you, even if they come to you as an experience, you will only want entertainment. There are so many people who want just entertainment from their kids. But raising a child is not simply entertainment. There are so many who want praise for being a great parent. But getting praise for being a great parent is not the only thing. There are so many who want kids to the second hand praise via their kids, by showing when their kids are excelling, they feel proud that my kids are excelling, I have done something good, which is absolutely okay. If the kid is doing something good, you should have the praise for the kid doing something good. But a kid is not simply about a kid doing something good. A kid is also about, or any one of us being humans, are also about doing something really bad in such a way that we learn from those bad experiences too. A kid is also about, if the kid has failed, it is not about taking personally that the kid has failed because of us, but understanding why is he failing. Is he failing because he has a learning disability? Is he failing because he is abused in school? Is he or she failing because, not failing also, maybe they are excelling, but they are failing in some other emotionally adaptive ways, because the parents are not emotionally adaptive, the child is also not learning emotional adaptability. All these things are necessary to learn. If we don't learn it, will it be a good quality relationship? No. And now, if some child like that, who has been raised like that, and I have been raised in a particular way, I meet a child like that, which was what my second relationship was like, where the soulmate potential was there, where we were able to charge each other, where we were talking and communicating with each other in the same way we wanted communication. But again, because it wasn't a priority for as it didn't develop. The phone was just left in one room and it was not getting charged. Or when the phone was charged, it was only at 50% charge, because one person is busy studying. Because at that time I was studying and working both. At the full time work, full time studies was happening for me. He was part time working, part time studying, and he was wanting to relax with his friends, because that part time work and part time studies itself made him want to relax. But his way of relaxing, my way of relaxing were different. So even though we were both communicating partly the right ways, there was also some communication mismatch in which we wanted to relax. And because our relaxing strategies were not similar, because our relaxing strategies not being similar is not a problem, but we have to still be able to stabilize and relax each other in a relationship, because we both can have our individual strategies. It is okay for a partner to go and engage in 1 hour of computer games, another partner to engage in 1 hour of watching movies. That is fine if you are using two different strategies to relax yourself in some ways. But the relaxing that comes with actually having a meaningful core relationship with a partner, that relaxing doesn't happen if you are not on the same page about what that relaxing should look like, what that relationship trajectory should look like. So that's where this second one also, even though it had a soulmate potential, it failed. Then I had also other relationships which I will talk about in the next video. But what I want you to gain from this video is that if people have had heartbreaks in their past relationship, if people felt narcissistically abused or were verbally abused or sexually their boundaries were being breached by someone, or they were being misunderstood by their spouses or past partners, all these past relationship grief related experiences, they unfolded for us in our life in order for us to learn something from that experience. Not the aspect of pain, but the aspect of healing from that pain, healing from that breakup, healing and learning from the conflicts we might have had, the mistaken communication cabling that was happening, the mistaken perceptions we might hold about another or self, the way in which we don't invest time in our relationships, the way in which we want to invest time but we select partners where they don't want to invest time. Because in both these, where was I going wrong, apart from the conflicts and apart from miscommunication or not having the time to give to a relationship? Apart from all these things, where I was going wrong was I was selecting again and again the partners who are not the right kind of partners for me. If I want to have a life where there's a particular fixed goal and some definite soul energy that I contain, where my soul knows that this partner is not the right partner for me based on how we are interacting with each other. When we understand this better about ourselves, we also understand it when to say no to these relationships. Both of these relationships continued for a much longer time than they should have continued in my life. Both of which were not just simply because of me. Both of us were doing certain things in each of these relationships that cause the relationship to drag on for a little further or a lot further than it should have dragged on. And in those dragging on experiences were also some things that I had to learn about boundaries, things I had to learn about myself, things I had to learn about the guys I'm choosing to date. They were both intellectually very good, intellectually much more higher than me. But because they were intellectually higher than me in some capacity, they also looked down upon me, which was a problem. Second problem zone, they both were very patriarchal oriented guys. So for them, a woman is simply for one of the guys, a woman was simply a sexual object. For the other, even if the woman is not simply a sexual object, he was a much more respectful guy. But despite that, a woman's intelligence has no play in his life. I was doing much more higher work. I was a little older than him. So I had much more intense work, much more work pressure, much more. I am much more intense and into my work than he is into his work. But all these, I'm a very driven personality when I work in my professional areas. The way in which I drive my professional life is very different from other people. I am not always seeking just excellence or awards in something I am doing, but what I do it very mindfully or carefully in some ways. Not I'm also not the best in any of the work that I have ever done, but I am also not the worst. So but that emotional energy, investment, dedication, care that you need to put in your work, or the intelligence that you need to even do the work that you're doing, those things have value. But if a guy doesn't respect that about a woman, or his perception was based on certain things he had told me, I understood that he doesn't value women at their intellectual levels, or at their levels of what can be valued about a woman other than simply their beauty or simply their presence in his life. He only valued women for his beauty or their presence, not for, or if the woman was showing false sense of helplessness, these are the things he valued. But I'm not that kind of personality. So that is what I learned from this relationship. Not simply what he is as a person, but what I am as a person. I can't be a helpless damsel in distress. If I am in distress, I actually verbally say I am in distress. And I set my boundary about that distress. With both these relationships, I learned that. Then what is really truly distressful or traumatizing for me, I express it. But men, even though many men want women to be authentic, many men want women to be expressive about what they are doing wrong in a relationship, when can a man actually be receptive to what they are hearing is when they have also valued what they are hearing from another person. If they don't value their partner, if they're not accepting of what they are going to hear from a partner when they are doing something wrong, or wrong meaning something that is not conducive to a good quality relationship building. So, and they didn't understand it at that time. Why? Because they were both not at the same level of relationship building that I want to achieve, I would like to achieve with a person who is also on the same page of that relationship building style. Because our styles were different. Their relationship, one's relationship building style was more about forming work friendships, another's relationship building style was forming more social relationships outside of work, which works. I learned from them about those things. So while they may or may not have learned from me, while they might have a future date after 10-20 years, that something that I said to him might click to them later on in life, what clicked for me every time they were also rejecting me or saying certain things, they would have said it maybe in anger, they could have said it maybe when we were calmly discussing what was going on in the relationship that is going wrong. Whichever way they said it, if that words they said had some value for me, it showed up in the way I changed myself, transported myself, shifted myself in my life. Like in my first relationship, the level of anger, the degree of anger, the ways in which I would express anger was very different from how I did it in my second relationship. I was not as angry, I was not as, even though I was 10 times more tired in that relationship because I was overworked. I was literally putting 40 hours at work, 30-40 hours in school, and then giving him 10-20 hours of my week, and I was completely exhausted. Even though I was completely exhausted, the level of anger that came up in that relationship was hardly anything compared to my first relationship. Despite that, I might have had only like 2 incidences of major fights with this second boyfriend. And in the first one, I had maybe like in a span of 2 years, same 2 years, say the both relationships were in the lasting phase of the relationship. In those same 2 years, in one relationship I had only 2 blowouts, in the other relationship I had maybe 100, not 100, maybe really like major 5-6 fights, and some minor scale conflicts also in the same 2 years. But why was there a change? Firstly, the 2 different people. So the person itself makes a difference, that the level of fight or frustration you may have with the partner is different. But secondly, I have also matured. The first relationship was in my early 20s. The next relationship, in between, I tried dating and other things. And the first relationship I had continued till until almost like my um, uh, middle third of my 20s. So and then in the later part of my 20s, I had tried to date or listen to my family and wanted to marry other guys. I did all those things, but it never worked out. And those relationships also I will explain in a different video, because there are also some personality types women have to understand. If they want better quality relationship, even men have to understand, if they don't want to keep staying stuck in patterns with choosing the wrong kind of people for their personality type. So for me, after those brief experiences with wanting with family setting with me up with some people and things like that, or me going on dating websites and meeting certain people, or going on wedding websites of shadi.com and meeting people, all these had happened, but they didn't work out. So that's why in my early 30s, when I met this late 20s to early 30s, no, I met him in early 30s. So in my early 30s, when I met this second boyfriend, I was more mature. I had understood more about my personality, what works, what doesn't work. I was more secure in my life because I had a good financial life, but I was also not secure in my visa life. So I had the work pressure of retaining my visa, what I should do with my future if this relationship also doesn't work. I had to, that's why, focus on studies and work both at the same time. So I was focusing on triple three things, whereas in my first relationship I was only focusing on either studies or career. Whereas here I was focusing on studies and career, and full-time studies, full-time career. Whereas in my other one, I had some part-time study, part-time career phases, where I was not working full-time and 40 hours a week. But here I was, and I was older also. So being an older woman, I should have had more stress, but I had relatively less stress because I had managed my stress via meditations, via exercises, via going to the gym, via eating a balanced, healthy diet. So even though I had double, triple work in my personal life, in my relationship also I was devoting much more time. In this relationship I gave much more time, because he was also ready to receive much more time from me. Both were happening, but the way in which I was giving and he wanted to receive was different, and the way in which he was giving and I wanted to receive was also slightly different. That's why also it was breaking up and it didn't work out. So there was a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is and you can feel resentful that why did I waste all my 30s in investing in dating someone who was younger, or dating someone who didn't have the same life goals as me. Definitely true, I shouldn't have dated a person whose life goals are different, but I can't understand that about that person until after I date that person. All the things that were relationship red flags weren't relationship red flags when before the relationship for a year we were just friends. As friends we were hitting off with each other, that's why we went ahead to date each other. But when dating each other we were hitting relationship red flags, because what is fun in a friendship may not be fun in a relationship. What is understandable in a friendship may not be understandable in a long-term life partnership. With friends you can forgive many things because you're meeting friends only casually once in a couple of months. You're going out for a food date, or you're going out for some shared activity like trekking or hiking, and you're just doing it on one day or out of many days. Whereas in a relationship you have to constantly interact with them daily, or if not daily, because again here also I was not living together with him and neither was he living together with me. We were occasionally once a week meeting at each other's homes, and when we were meeting in each other's homes once a week, twice a week, again the same problem, that when we are meeting, what are we doing with our quality time? We were not having, even though I was spending more hours with him, I was still not having a quality time experience with him, because for him those hours of meeting was only about eating food, eating good food. So I enjoy eating good food with him, but I also didn't enjoy eating good food, because if I'm eating out 3-4 days a week I was getting fatter, because I was busy at work. I didn't have that much time to devote to my gym. Whereas when I had 40 hours of work and 30 hours of studying happening, 40 hours of studying, what is happening is in my gym life earlier, when I had only 40 hours of work, I would go out to the gym for 20 to 2 hours sometimes. Whereas in this relationship, I wasn't able to go to the gym for 2 hours. I was only able to go only 30 minutes to the gym. But all of this reduced my calories are also increasing, my stress is also high, as well as my food intake, my exercise has gone down. So I started becoming a little resentful that he's not understanding that if he wants the same hot girlfriend that he had before we started dating, I was not at the same hotness level. He didn't say that he wanted the same hot girlfriend, but even if he doesn't say it, I wanted to maintain that fitness level. And the second thing is, it was not just about hotness level of my health, because I was also not very hotness focused person. I was more a health focused person. So for me, just eating out heavy food daily in a restaurant was not something I liked or enjoyed doing. So for me, a quality experience would have been, sometimes we eat occasionally, sometimes we eat at home. But that eating at home life was not happening for me, because I was so busy that I would rarely cook in those 4 years. I had continuous years of studying, and then in all those 4 years, part of those years I had also for a few months I was heavily depressed. So as a result of all these, which was the depression that started after the breakup, the depression that started because I was so busy, and also the depression that started because after this second breakup, my soul was crushed. I was crushed in such a way that I was like, what am I doing wrong? That because this guy was a very good guy. So I was like, the first guy, I could villainize him. He was so toxic to me. We were always fighting. This guy, we hardly fought. So then why didn't it work? I was so depressed, so heartbroken that why am I not able to work out with things with a very good guy? But then now I'm realizing good guy doesn't equate to a guy being good for you. Like how a bad boy also doesn't equate to a bad guy being bad for you. Because what makes a relationship work is not their inherent goodness or badness, not just that. To the outside world, any guy can look like a great guy. But the metal that drives a relationship, the quality that makes a relationship powerful, beneficial, healthy, harmonizing, merging, and beautiful for both partners, is that you have to be right people for each other. Not simply good people in the eyes of the world, but good for each other, good towards each other, balancing and healthy for each other, which is where this relationship fell apart. And it took me almost 5 years later to figure out that what was wrong about this relationship. And from the choices I was making when deciding who to marry, who to date, who to be with, which came after my another heartbreak, and that I will post in my next video. But what women need to understand, or even men need to understand, when you have had hard, tough relationships, conflict filled relationships, or sudden breakup in relationships, where I was literally blindsided in this relationship when he broke up and he started dating someone else. But even though I was blindsided, it was not a complete blindside too, because we also had in this relationship also a few months of gap when we were not dating. So that time he explored dating other people, and while he was exploring dating another person, he found another person. He was just not authentic enough to express to me that he was dating another person. I would have no problem if he had told me that he had started dating someone else. And he told me very briefly only one thing, that one day I had gone with this girl to watch this movie. And it was the same day when we were broken up. I had also gone to watch a movie with a guy with my parents had sent my way. So other than that, going on a movie with someone, and for me that was it. I had gone with this guy, I had spoken to this guy a couple of times before going to meet him. After that, I was not seeing anyone. So I was honest about it. But if he had in his mind thoughts about seeing this girl, he should have expressed it to me, but he couldn't. So see where it is a problem now. Now imagine if I had married him, Imagine if we were engaged. Imagine if we had continued dating each other while in the back of his mind he's thinking of this other girl that he had dated who to him seemed better, who he eventually did marry a couple of years later. But whatever he did, him marrying her, choosing her is not a problem, egoic problem for me, because I'm not an ego driven person. So for me, someone choosing another is not the problem. But what is the problem is you choosing another by hiding it from me is the problem. You choosing another and not being authentic is the problem. You choosing another and already in your mind starting to reject me is the problem, because if you are rejecting me it is okay, but tell it to me honestly. This honesty and authenticity is missing in many relationships, which causes people to be betrayed. My first boyfriend also cheated on me. Again, in that also I will talk about that. Cheated again, it was the same Ross Rachel kind of cheating, where again when we were broken up he had started seeing someone else, which was okay, but again that guy also did the same repeating pattern. Both these guys were not honest enough with me, which is a problem of women like me who look very independent. If you are looking very independent, or if you are very firm about certain boundaries, sometimes men fail to understand that they can also, I am being firm about my boundaries means you are also supposed to be firm about your boundaries. If your boundary is that you are not happy in this relationship, you want to explore other partners, you have to say that. If your boundary is that you are not happy with me and your mind keeps on diverting, which the other person in retrospect had at least given me a hint that I am seeing other persons. They both gave me partly a hint that they are doing something where they are seeing someone else, but that part hint is not enough. You have to be crystal clear when someone else is, because that is where you develop empathy, that is where you become a better quality guy. So that's why they were not, even though they were good from the perspective of society, one being intelligent, both of them being intelligent, both of them being intellectually competent, both of them being highly sought out professionals in US. They were both Indian, I was also Indian. This is all a story from America, but it is also a story which happens anywhere globally between people. And it is also a story where if you have diverse perspectives, diverse way of viewing life, you will have a relationship mismatch with the partner you are temporarily dating, or they are temporarily dating, or you will end up feeling used. I felt very used by both these people, but by the time I felt used by these people, I also have to understand they don't trust me enough. So that means the relationship was already failing much more than I realized that it was failing. And the fact that if they don't trust me enough to be authentic enough with me while they are dating me in the first 2 years of dating, or 4-5 years of dating, are they the good life partners? So is it necessary for them to cheat? Is it necessary that they cheated and left me? Is it necessary that that happened for me to stop loving them? Because I still love and care for those two boys even now, but for me to let go of them, their cheating helped me let go of them, which if they hadn't cheated, it might have taken me even longer to let go of them than when they cheated. And if they had been honest with me while cheating that I'm dating someone else, I would have let go of them even sooner than that. So do you understand? If they had been honest, it would, and I would not have had years and years of depression, repression, anger, whatever else that happened. So in my trauma, many men think they are not traumatizing the women, they traumatize, or the other way when the woman has done these kind of cheating. People don't understand the karma they have created by not being honest and authentic. Because anyone in their right mind, if they are not a psychotic lover, if they are not someone who is who does love you intensely and deeply and whatever, but even if they love you intensely and deeply and whatever, if you are in the phase of life where you feel someone else is more important than the person you are currently dating, or even someone who you are on and off dating, you have found someone a better choice, go with the better choice. No one is stopping you from going with the better choice, but be authentic and end the trauma of the person by making them falsely live in the illusion that you are still interested in them. That is where I feel people fail and generate negative karma, and also don't understand the pain they cause another human being by two timing them in a way that doesn't is not necessary. In my case, it was not necessary. I do not know about other girls. Maybe they had other girls who behaved that way, who behaved irrationally when the relationship got broken, or who were, and I am, it's not that I don't have anger, so I have shown anger, but anger doesn't equate to irrationality. There is a rational place for anger also, which is where both these guys misjudged me, misjudged many women, not understanding that women's anger or anyone's anger has a right place and a wrong place. I would not have been angry. The only thing I was disappointed and hurt and traumatized from certain things that happened with them. I was not angry. There was nothing to be angry about. If someone wants to let you go, you should let them go. This is my attitude about life, which they don't understand. That is fine. But do I have to wait to find the guy who will understand and appreciate this about me? And if I don't find that guy who continues to assume that just because a woman is saying something or a man is saying something, that he will get upset if I tell him that there is someone else I am interested in. Why should a person who loves you be upset of you loving someone else? Then you don't even understand love. Then their love was not true love. If they are upset about you dating someone else and you choosing someone else, then it is egoic love. It is not true love. Those who are in the same journey as me, who understand that what is the difference between egoic love and true love, they are in the twin flame journey and divine counterpart journey. And then if you have understood this about true love, then in the divine counterpart and twin flame journey, you will also realize that if you are on a twin flame journey, sometimes you and your twin flame's path will not merge. Sometimes you and your twin flame will not come together as couples for many years. And until you come together as couple, if your love was the egoic love, then you will let go of loving them and move on and date someone else, marry someone else, which for these boys it was egoic love. And this is where it was different. Their love was an egoic love. That's why they felt, and they would have been affronted if I had, and they were likely affronted when I mentioned that, oh, I talked to this guy, my parents are causing my parents, because both the times before the breakups and before they started dating someone, it also happened that when we were breaking up or we were broken up for a couple of months, my family came in and they asked, do you want to there is this boy that our family is asking you to marry, do you want to marry them, or are you dating someone? Now if I'm broken up with a boyfriend, or if a boyfriend is showing signs of breaking up with me and has never discussed marriage with me verbally or crystal clearly or authentically, will I tell my parents that I am dating someone, or am I going to be quiet about it? Because I don't myself know how I stand in that relationship with these boys. So when I don't know how I stand in the relationship with these boys, I am going to say no only. And if I have said no, I'm not going to say anything. I just said I don't know, I'm not ready to marry. This is all I said to my dad. But even then, if he is pushing me, he sometimes sent me some other boys to talk to. Now will I consider talking to other boys? Not because I'm interested in dating someone else, but only because my family has sent someone to me. I would do it, and I did do it. I did talk to other boys, and both the times though, after talking to these other boys, I told these other boys that this is what has happened with from my family's end. So one boy asked me, one boy I told. So whatever I did, but why did the boy who asked me or the boy who I told about it, why did I openly tell? Because I had crystal clear knowledge that these boys that had met already, dated already, it didn't work out with them, and it's not going to work out with them. So I was clear in my head that it is not working out with them. That's why I'm telling you. But even though it didn't work out with them, you also have to understand, being a woman of a certain age, my family can keep sending me other boys also. So am I someone worthwhile for you to pursue? That is what I want to know when I'm saying that. But if you're in a low vibrational energy about a relationship, you will think it is about being jealous, or she's trying to instigate jealousy in me. Maybe they were trying to instigate jealousy in me, but I'm also not the jealous kind. So see this, both the problems that happened where they were not being authentic and they were being jealous about what I am communicating to them, shows their vibrational energy, shows their perception of how they look at relationships. It should be about instigating jealousy in the other. It should be about seeing if the other person values me more if I make them jealous. But should a relationship ever be like that? So that's why I'm never jealous. If you want to date someone else, I am jealous in the same sense that if you are marrying me, if you are dating me, you have to be loyal. And there I will show my not jealousy, but there has to be the right boundary. Then only I will marry you or want to be married to you. Because I did marry someone without all these boundaries, so I had to keep changing my perception of what relationship has to have in it to become a quality relationship for me. Like that, anyone who's in a divine counterpart journey or a twin flame journey has to also make some firm boundaries, build some firm structure around what is a loyal relationship, what is not a loyal relationship, what is a genuine communication filled relationship, what is not a genuine communication filled relationship, what is a low basal relationship, what is a divine relationship. Because twin flame and divine counterparts both are divine relationships. Can you go to twin flame and divine counterpart level if you are at the base level of instigating sexual energy, jealousy, hatred, dislike, hiding things from your partner? Can you ever achieve those relationship qualities with anyone if one or both partners are in those low levels? We can't. So if you want to become a divine relationship potential, if you are going in your twin flame journey, if you're learning in your twin flame journey, if you have to learn something in your twin flame journey, these are the things you have to learn first from the relationships which are not divine, from the relationships which are the opposite of a balancing relationship, opposite of a harmonizing relationship, opposite of a relationship which will build you together to go forward in a life that you envision for yourself and a partner. Because again, in this also there is another problem that many men or women have. They envision a life for themselves, but in a very superficial way with a partner, the way that society teaches them, the way that parents have seen. From there they have built a superficial image, the way we have built it from movies, the way we have built it from other romantic experiences or from our friendship circles. These are the places where we have built an image of a life with a partner that may not even be the life that you will eventually wish to lead when you are more mature in life. Like when I was younger, I wanted to become a mom so badly. But now I'm thinking I will only become a mom when the right settings for me to become a mom are present. I just can't simply become a mom just because I wish and I have a desire to become a mom. If the right dad is not present, if the dad is not the kind who understands what parenting means, co-parenting means, I do not want to have a kid then. Or if I am becoming a single mom, again I need a very right set of conditions present in my life to become a single mom. I cannot just simply become a single mom just because I have a desire to become a mom, even though that desire, that wish has been there in my soul for almost 20 years of my life. So like that, when you are a twin flame or a divine counterpart of someone, you have to do these deeper reflections, deeper understanding, deeper development of your own understanding of where do you want to go in life, why do you want to go there, how should you go there, what are the good divinely aligned ways to go there, and what are the misaligned ways to go there. If you get stuck in the misaligned ways, then again you can't become a divine soul or a divine twin flame. If you are getting stuck in the, it is okay to get misaligned, but once you are misaligned, if you're not asking help from God, when you're not connecting with God deeply or connecting with God's purpose and plan for your life, again you can't go into the twin flame journey or divine counterpart journey. That's why inner twin flame inner work is required. Inner work meaning how to balance yourself, how to develop perspective about yourself that has to be a little different from what you have learned so far in life, how to change yourself according to also understanding What is the other gender's perspective? Some twin flames won't simply have the gender perspectives to work on. I had to work on the professional plus gender perspectives. I had to work on the age perspectives. I had to work on the sexual perspectives. Different things, different twin flames have different perspectives to work on. And based on so far where their life has taken them, so far what they have learned in their life, determines the next twin flame path for them. The more you and your twin flame are aligned towards the same goals and the same paths, then your life with them will merge. The more you are misaligned with them, or the perspective on life is only very imbalanced and in a different vibration, again your paths can't merge. So I hope this was insightful. It was a long video, but I hope this gave you some feedback about why you have to do inner work, what is involved in the inner work, and also understand that you are doing inner work even if you were existing simply as a soul in the first couple of 20-30 years of your life on earth. You're still doing an inner work. It's just that the level of maturity and depth of inner work will be different as you grow older and older. And even in the relationship, when you're in a twin flame relationship with your partner also, or a divine counterpart relationship, again the inner work will continuously keep evolving in the relationship. It doesn't simply end because you got married to someone. It doesn't simply end because you're dating your twin flame. It continues evolving, because evolving is a part of life journey for all of us, and we have to evolve together with our partner when we are married or dating them. Then only it becomes a beautiful life journey. The reason why these boys and I didn't work out is we were not evolving in the same direction. We are not looking at the same life path, direction or choice. So we can't evolve together. That's why whatever happened, even the lies, cheating, betrayal, anger, grief, whatever happened, the bad things that happened, they were meant to happen. Without those bad things, I wouldn't understand what is it that I want in my next relationship. I wouldn't understand what is the purpose of the negativity that was there in those relationships. The purpose was to bring out what is inside of me, which wouldn't come out because these boys are not talking. So how will I understand what I need from a relationship if I don't have a boy talking with me, if I don't have a family talking with me, if I don't have someone talking with me to bring out that from me? What will bring it out if you don't have anyone in your life? If you're an orphan, or you're a loner, or you're an introvert, or you are so heartbroken in a relationship and so overburdened by work that you don't have time to reflect, who will bring this out from you? Your relationships darkness will bring this out from you. This is the purpose of the darkness that comes in your life. Part of it is because of you, part of it is because of the other person. But if we only reflect on what was wrong with the other person, we won't evolve. When we reflect on what was wrong with both of us, or what was wrong in the sense what was not a right fit for both of us, that is when you will evolve and find and go towards a person who will be the right fit for you. Otherwise, how will you know that if someone is only interested in sex, I should not say yes to that person? How will you know if someone is only interested in fun, I should not say yes to that person either? I have to see more, because more than sex and fun is needed to make a relationship work. More inner and more than just fire is needed, more than just calming energies is needed. One boyfriend was a very fiery energy, other boyfriend was a very calming energy, but more than just fire and calm is needed. And the other one was also airy energy. He was very talking oriented person. The first one was not talking oriented person, but he was, when he was communicating even in anger, he did provide more information to me, which helped me become a better person. So start evolving into becoming a better version of you, even if your relationships ended. Even if you are in a twin flame journey and a journey with your twin flame ends for some reason or separates for some reason, again you have to go back into balance by first learning certain things from the past and healing certain things in the present, and while healing in the present, evolving from what happened in your past and present, so that you can become a better version of yourself in the future. A version, not just a better version, but a more aligned version that can continue a path with a twin flame in the future. And if it makes sense, if not a twin flame, then with a divine counterpart in the future. So if any of this makes sense, and if you want to learn more about all this, please drop me a comment and have a good day. Thank you.